We actually consulted the learners. They're the key stakeholders in this process, so we asked them what they wanted from reception through to Year 7, and they worked with Peter Moeck, our architect, to create a vision for the learning spaces that they wanted. Their criteria was very specific. They wanted large, open spaces. They wanted no carpet because they didn't want to spill anything on the floor and worry about it. They wanted lots of natural light, and they wanted to be able to move freely between spaces. So that's what they got.
I like how they have the sliding doors instead of the normal doors. And then on some of the cupboards, they have whiteboards on it as well as the cupboards.
I love how we can also see out the windows and that, because you've got like the see-through glass doors and that, which I like. I love how there's it's kind of like soundproof, like the doors, so you can't really hear much out of them.
There's so much flexibility, but the natural light just means that it's bright, it's stimulating. And we also have the ability to grow plants and have that natural light in the room that lets plants survive.
And I also like these sliding doors, so then like when you're in this area you can always just slide the door instead of like opening it with a harder handle, and they're quite easy to open.
These buildings help to create a space that is accessible but personalised as well. So you have that opportunity to open up and be spread right out and work individually and to have your own learning space, but then you also have the opportunity to bring that into a tighter, smaller, more personalised learning space that then helps again for students that need a quieter, more focused space. But it's just that flexibility that makes all of the difference in these spaces. So, and it builds a real sense of community because it's not shut away. The children are openly exposed to their parents, to each other. They're not tucked away. It's visible and it's engaging, and it's a really vibrant community to learn in.
Everything in the building is adaptable and movable. We can decide whether the door between our classrooms is open or closed. Most of the time we're co-teaching with flexible open learning space, so we can actually spill the children over 2 classrooms or group them in a variety of ways, but they can freely move between both ends of the building.
Because we had more than one thing going on, we didn't have just the modulars put in, we had a refurbishment of 2 other classroom spaces, plus 2/3 of the school's roof redone. We had to work really closely with Ausco and Inca, the other construction agency, as well as our architect, Peter Moeck, to bring that whole big picture together, and Ausco were awesome with working with us to make sure that went on. One of our other things that was really important to us was that the build didn't impact on the school as a whole. And so it was fantastic that we were able to sort of just close off a part of the school, and it all happened in the background, so to speak. But that our students were able to then see that process because of the way it was set up. There was sort of a viewing platform from another part of the school. And the children were able to see the changes and the growth and the development from those initial stages of talking about it and planning it with Peter to the final product. You know, their faces were just priceless because they said, you know, to have little tiny people say, but you listened to me and this is what I said I wanted. That was just really powerful from an educational perspective, but also just to see that it was exactly how we wanted it to be, and that it had been really quite pain-free. So that was just, yeah, fantastic. The more we learn about what's best for children in their learning, I think the more we're going to see a more open, inclusive context. I think it's more prolific in senior secondary at the moment. There's a big shift for having very communal, open, more university type spaces. It's still, I think, still new in primary settings, just because of the diversity of the people that you're working with. But I certainly think that it's the future, absolutely. To have an end product like we have has changed the entire way that we go about what we do, and has really made us, or put us into a position where we are really competitive in our marketplace, which we hadn't been before, and it has changed the landscape of our school. It is one of the things that draws people into our community, is that they come into this space and go, wow, you know, I wish I had a classroom like that when I went to school, and that's what I want for my children. And we got what we wanted, so win.